is going on?
No matter how far you go into the dark, when you flip, you go exactly the same place to the light in our galaxy. Everything. Because everything is in balance. Everything is a polarity.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.
After dark, baby. What the hell is going on, people? It is a special after dark because I have set it up. Well, I think it's worked, but I've set it up so only you little weirdos can talk. Only members can speak tonight. It's open to everyone, but I thought what I'm actually doing is I'm trying to suppress free speech. Okay? So you need to have the privilege to speak. Everyone else is doing it. Everyone else is doing it. All other leaders of countries and communities are doing it. So I thought, why not have a go at it too? So only some of you can speak tonight because I am your new dictator and this is how we're doing things. No, honestly, I've done it so I can try to engage a little bit better and keep up with the chat a little bit more. And yeah, hopefully it works. Although I think I can see people in the chat who are not members speaking. And if that is the case, if the walls have already been breached, then that's okay. I'm not going to be upset that you guys are here and chatting as long as we all have a good time. That's really what it's about. Okay. Joshua, what the hell is that, my friend? $100 and we have not even got started yet. He says, cool shirt. Where did you pick that one up? Thank you, bro. Thank you very much for your extremely generous super chat and the compliment. And I picked this one up right here, right there, actually, just here on the Polarity store. You can get yourself one. This is the Polarity Truth is Stranger Than Fiction tee. And it actually has a really cool design at the back. Let me show you. It'll be backwards, but hopefully you guys can see that. Designed by yours truly, by the way. I'm not much of a designer, but I do like this one. It's got it's got some UFOs on the back, and it says, "You are not alone," because it's like a little play on. Obviously, we're not alone, but also individually, when you're going through some shit, you're not alone, and that's what it's about. So you can get yourself one right there. Thank you very much, Joshua. Brett Douglas, welcome aboard, sir, and Rambro, thank you very much for gifting a membership, guys. After dark. I really do love this show because for those of you who don't know or who are new, we basically do this show with no plan at all. I mean, I've got a couple of things that it's always good to talk about, but really, I just want to vibe with you guys and see how everyone's feeling, what's on your mind, and kind of riff off of that. I guess what I will start off with though is the last couple of days I went down. So you guys know I'm in Vietnam at the moment. I'm staying in a place called Da Nang, which is just beautiful. But just south of here, about 40 minutes, there is another little, it's not a city, town, village called Hoi An. And that place is unreal. So I went and stayed down there the other night. And I'm behind on the travel vlogs. Tomorrow, I'm going to edit and hopefully have one done. Okay. I do want to get that up and running again. Doing my best out here. But in the meantime, if you are interested in just seeing where I'm at and what I'm up to and the places that I'm going, following me on Instagram right here is probably the best way because I do post stories and a lot of memes fairly regularly. So if you like stories, if you like travel and memes, then you should follow me. But tomorrow we're editing. We're going to catch back up to things and get some content rolling out on the travel channel soon because I'm very overdue. I'm delicate. Okay. The ankle injury really threw me through everything, through my mental, through everything. But we are on the comeback now, ladies and gentlemen. So tomorrow, this is what's happening. But Hoi An is beautiful, and I actually tried to get some photos up to show you guys, and they're not working for some reason. But yeah, if you ever come to Vietnam, people talk about Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh. These are more of like the bigger cities. I went to Ho Chi Minh. I haven't been to Hanoi, but these smaller places like Da Nang, which is getting bigger, but Hoi An, which I had never even heard of until I came here, easily the my best experience in Vietnam so far. So highly recommend if you're heading this way. Um, Also, I would say, at least so far, touch wood, this part of the world, from what I can gather, isn't having an oil crisis and isn't having any kind of major restrictions or lockdowns yet. So hopefully it stays that way. I'm meant to be flying out of here in 10 days. Yeah, in 10 days, I go on to my next adventure. But it seems like it's getting pretty rough for those who are back home in Australia. Your petrol is nearly $3 a liter. People are talking about lockdowns. Sure. What is the idea behind a lockdown right now? Like, what is the lockdown for? Or is this just talk? Icke says Vietnam is my favorite country in Asia to date. Hanoi leaves Ho Chi Minh for dead. Yeah, so I was only in Ho Chi Minh for like 3 or 4 nights, and I had planned to do a big travel vlog adventure, but that was when my ankle was really bad and I couldn't even walk without a crutch. So I basically just played World of Warcraft in Ho Chi Minh City for 3 days. It was great. It was great, but didn't really get to see the city much, unfortunately. I've heard Hanoi is beautiful, though. It's for a conservation of petrol? Surely not. Surely not. I wonder if this does happen, if they do actually try to impose some kind of lockdown, I wonder how people are going to take it this time. Surely people are too burned from last time to just bend over, spread their cheeks, hand over the lube to the government and say, here you go, sir. Proceed to screw me again. Thanks for coming to Lady Babylon. My pleasure. My pleasure. I try to check in on Armin's streams like pretty regularly. I reckon I watch them at least once a week. I think he only does a couple of weeks, so I do try to get in there when I can. It's just the time zones. The time zones are so awkward with America. I've got some podcasts coming up soon. Going to be talking to Chris Ramsey soon, which is going to be really fun. But to link up podcasts with these guys, man, I'm not really a morning person, okay? We know that. And I have to get up kind of early. They have to stay up kind of late or vice versa. It's just not ideal. It's really not ideal. I would love to be able to do podcasts in person. It's just so much better, man. Speaking of Chris Ramsey and podcasts in person, he went to the UK and sat down with David Icke, and that's going to be coming out in a couple of days. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that. And also, not just because I think it'll be a really cool conversation, but the fact that it's in person. I feel like it makes for a better conversation, I think, because there is something about, I mean, you guys would know this. You've all been through lockdowns and had to do everything on Zoom. There's something like, there's like a disconnect. I don't know. It's kind of weird because I feel like you can get a read on someone's vibe and energy over a call, but there's another level to it. I think when you're in person, you can really like connect. So I'm really looking forward to that. Good on him, by the way, for actually going there to do that. I guess he would have to, right? He would have to because David Icke is probably banned in Canada and America, which is just hilarious. We were talking about this the other day that David Icke is banned, Candace Owens is banned, or she got at least rejected and denied from Australia. Yet at the same time, like Bonnie Blue, it's just like, Bonnie Blue, come on in, bring your 1,000 dudes ready to rail you. Come on in, film it, post it online. Come on in. Candace Owens, no, dangerous. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. Like, what the fuck, people? Seriously, like, what is going through their heads? What is actually going through these people's heads? It's actually ridiculous. Have I heard from David Icke yet? I haven't, Rob. I haven't. He ghosted me. It's okay. It's only the 4th time that he's ghosted me, so we'll recover from this one quickly. But I appreciate everyone who got in on the post, though. I really do. I had a lot of support to try and get David's attention. Maybe he didn't see it. Maybe he did, and he thought, no, that guy, not for me. Who knows? Don't know. But I didn't get a reply. So, but that's okay. Back to the drawing board. We'll keep trying. we'll put it down to divine timing. And actually, what I will say is this was, I reckon, a couple of days before Chris Ramsey announced the interview with David, and I remember he posted something about being in the UK like a week or so ago. So perhaps David Icke was just like, mate, I just did a fucking 2-hour interview. I can't be bothered doing another one right now. And fair enough. So, who knows? We'll keep trying. We'll get there one day. We will get there one day. You need to send him one of the merch items with his pick on it. If he came on the show, I would send him every color and design that he would like. Absolutely. Josh, where can we go to spam David Icke to get him on the show? Look, I don't want to encourage people to go and spam him because I feel like that would be a little bit annoying. But if something comes up again where there's an opportunity to do that, I will let you guys know. If there's like a post to reshare or comment to maybe get some attention, I'll let you guys know. But I wouldn't encourage spamming him as much as I do want to talk to him. I believe it will happen. Yeah, the time will come. That's right, Susie. I believe the same. But I appreciate your enthusiasm, Brandon. I appreciate that I have an army of people here ready to go to battle for me. With me. Not for me, with me. We're in this together. Just like at the Polarity compound. Yvonne says, can't stay. Just wanted to say hi to everyone. Thank you, Yvonne. Appreciate you. Thanks for dropping in. Andy celebrating 14 months. Andy, thank you, bro. That's a long time. One of the day ones. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for still being here. And sorry, give me one sec. Rowan Willow says, yes, we want to see all of the travels, please. Will you travel or have you already been to Angkor Wat in Cambodia or any temples? I haven't been to Angkor Wat and I haven't been to Cambodia. Would love to one day, not on the itinerary for this trip. But, if I can get this travel channel like at a decent spot, I would definitely love to go back one day and do that. But I think I have to actually be consistent. I've got to edit the videos. I've got to post them. I think the thing for me is sometimes guys, I feel like we're all the same here. We all hate listening to ourselves and watching ourselves, right? So I can kind of just be myself in the moment and film and just be silly and whatever. But then I watch it back and I'm just like, God, you're a loser. You know what I mean? So to edit it, it's like I'll go through my footage and I'll be like, cut that out, cut that out, cut that out. Cut that out. You're embarrassing. Cut that out. So it's hard. I've got to be in the right frame of mind, but we're getting there. We are getting there. Thank you, Rowan. Beats with 9 months says, hello, weirdos. I don't chat much, but I love you guys. Keep up the good work, Josh. Thank you. I plan to, Beats. I appreciate the 9 months as well. Thank you very much. Krigstem says, did you see Bashar went mainstream yesterday on a famous podcast? That neuroscientist from The Big Bang Theory, Dr. Mayim Bialik. I don't know who that is. And I didn't know that. I didn't actually, you know what? I did see something pop up of a podcast for Bashar recently. So it was probably that, to be honest. But I haven't watched it. Was it any good? If it was good, I'll have to try and check it out. You know who I did watch recently? Elizabeth April, who, I guess is in the same lane as Bashar. And she remote views, and she's basically saying the world is ran by reptilians. I don't know what to make of this, and I don't just go, oh, well, Elizabeth April says that the world is ran by reptilians, so I guess that's the truth now. But with all this stuff about Epstein and people eating people and drinking blood and, all of these people saying they've seen people shift into lizards, it's definitely getting to me to a point where I'm like, I think it could be. I think it could be. You know what I mean? And let's not forget, David Icke, who we were just talking about, has said that for a long time, and he's pretty much been right about everything else. The reptile conversation is the only thing that's kind of left on his checklist to be like, I was right. So, his track record is pretty good so far. His track record is pretty good. And I've got a video coming out tomorrow morning. Well, that it'll be in 12 hours. 11 hours and 45 minutes to be exact. That'll be coming out. It's already done and posted, so that will be happening. I'm not explicitly talking about reptilians, but I kind of am, about like this idea that like the world is occupied by something else. That's kind of what it's about. We're looking at a couple of clips. Is it live? Yes, it will be in 11 hours and 45 minutes. This is also not live though. Thank you, Susie. Warhawk with $50. Thank you, Warhawk. That's a very big super chat. I appreciate you very much. They say, much love, Josh and Weirdos. Been absent for the last month, but I'm back. This is Zach Beach. Changed my name. Zach Beach. Sir, welcome back. Thank you. Man, all you guys and your name changes, you're making me work for it. You really are. And YouTube isn't helping by changing your names as well. But I'll lock that one in, Zach. I'll try to keep calling you Zach, but I can't make any promises. Thank you very much, Zach, a.k.a. Warhawk. Dutch Richard gifted 5 memberships. Richard, thank you very much, my friend. That's very generous. That's 5 new people who have just been gifted the right to be able to speak on this channel. Isn't that amazing? Richard just granted you the privilege of speech because you have to pay to talk here. That's the new rule. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even think it worked. It seems like other people are speaking who aren't members, and that's okay. That's okay, as long as the energy is good. I know remote viewing is real. So this is the thing. This is the thing, right, that I'm interested, why I find Elizabeth April interesting. One, because, you know, there's all of this conversation that stems from the government and CIA that they were using remote viewing during the Cold War. The Russians were using it. This is a whole thing, right? But then, you know, in the same breath, I'm like, yeah, but do we even trust any of that? Like, is that all part of a psyop? Who knows? Elizabeth April, though, just objectively, the way that she speaks, it's like, if you are lying and making this up, you're an Oscar-winning liar. Because she does live streams like this, like I'm doing right now, where she's just talking on the fly. She kind of makes mistakes and she kind of picks up and she keeps going. And I don't know how you could do that. I don't know why you would do that if you were lying. Because you're just kind of opening yourself up to like a unnecessary amount of risk of coming untangled with your story live when you could just film it, edit it carefully, and then post it. Which is why no one trusts the news, by the way. This is why I like doing this format. Because it is real and it is authentic, and you do screw up sometimes, and that's okay because that's human. That's human. And I think humans connect with that more rather than getting like their thoughts, rather than having their thinking and thoughts delivered to them by someone who talks like this. We are all starting to realize that like there's something about that voice, that newsreader voice, that is like fucking brainwashing people. And it's like weird, it's like this like weird like hypnosis that they've discovered and they're performing on people. And that is why I think just going live, making mistakes, swearing, whatever happens, people are kind of like, oh, he's a real person. He's not a reptilian NPC. He's just a real person like me. And that is why I think this kind of media over time is going to take over. And hopefully the old media will die. Yogi Big House 1, you little weirdo. Thank you very much for becoming a member. You now have the right to speak in this channel. Congratulations. And Taris just gifted 5. Taris, my man, always here supporting, chucking out fivers for the people, gifting people the right to speech. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you. Susie QNC with 6 months. Thank you for 6 months, Susie. Look at that gold trim on your badge. You're looking beautiful. She says you'll be interviewing aliens in 6 years. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Speaking of interviewing aliens, did you guys watch the latest, I think it came out today or yesterday, interview Pavel did with this guy named Ryan something? And did you guys see this? So this guy, Ryan, he's not, I don't think he'd been out publicly at all yet. And I can't remember the full story off the top of my head on how Pavel knew who he was to chase this story up. But basically, this guy believes that his conversation that he had with Tom DeLonge in 2012 in a bookstore, just randomly bumped into him in a bookstore. Yes, Ryan Dean. Thank you, Dan. They were in the New Age Enlightenment section. Bumped into Tom DeLonge, started talking about things, sat down with him for 3 hours talking about experiences and UFOs and aliens. And basically towards the end of that conversation, Tom DeLonge was just like, man, I really need to pull on my contacts in the military and stuff like that to try and do something, like to try and bring this issue to the public and whatever. And then obviously we got to the Stars Academy. But Ryan's encounter and story that he's had himself was just crazy. And I would love to speak to him on this channel because I just, as I was listening, I just had so many questions. Really interesting story. One thing off the top of my head that I remember is that he also spoke about coming face to face with this gray-like being, which he kept referring to as a she and a female, which I thought was really interesting. And he'd made some AI renditions of his experience. So there was photos up while they were speaking, which he said were like 80% accurate. And he said that like when he looked into this gray's eyes, that he like fell into them, and that it was like, like all of the same things that we hear, which is really interesting. And he seemed very believable. He seemed quite what's the word? Like meek. I don't know if meek is the right word. Timid, reserved, but also like confident in what he was saying. But there was an absolutely like zero sensationalizing his tale. He was very believable, and it was a really good conversation. It was a good listen. So I'd recommend checking that one out. What was also interesting is that with this gray being, there was two what he called like reptilian looking beings that had staves, and that were like angry, that like he felt like were on the brink of like wanting to kill him. It was like the highest amount of controlled contempt and anger for someone that you could have is how he described these beings. He said a master Kabbalist was aboard. Yeah, he did. He basically said that his intuitive feeling about this interaction was that these were like magicians from the future, or we could just say people from the future that had harnessed a physics, a technology, something that harnessed something from the future that we haven't figured out yet, or at least us plebs haven't figured out yet. So super interesting. I would hopefully I can get him on maybe one day. My daughter tutors AI. My daughter tutors AI, and I had a chat with Claude, and it lied and sidestepped and assumed. I sent it to her, and she said, "Who among much?" She said, "Whoa." Okay, you lost me at the end there, Paris. But interesting that your AI is, lying. And this is the thing with AI. I feel like far too much and far too easily verifiable does it tell you what you want to hear. And that's not good. That is not good for so many reasons. First of all, that's like the worst kind of friend, right? The worst friend you can have is someone who just like tells you everything's going to be okay and that you're so great and all of this bullshit, when that is just not reality. A good friend tells you when you're being a dick or when you're wrong or when you need to be called out. And you could say the most twisted shit to ChatGPT, and it would be like, you've had a really hard day. It's okay that you decided to throw stones at that old grandma. Do you want me to write up an essay on how you can justify it to the police? That's the kind of shit ChatGPT will say to you. So, like seriously, I'm not even really. Someone test it. Someone test it right now. Type to ChatGPT, say, I just threw a rock at a grandma and knocked her over. I feel really bad about it. How am I going to explain this to the police? Try it. I guarantee you it'll tell you it'll gaslight you into, you know, not making you feel so bad. It's all good. Um, everything will be okay. You're a good guy. It's not good, especially for the younger generation. I think it's going to raise like a very entitled group of people who don't understand right from wrong. Perhaps, I don't know. Maybe I'm going too deep into that one, but it is scary. ChatGPT is a cop, bro. It might be soon. It actually might be soon. I saw that fast food chains are actually making moves now to bring in robotics. So when you go to McDonald's and you order up a nice large McValue Goyslop meal, it's not going to be a greasy teenager cooking it up for you. It's going to be a robotic arm. This is where we are. All your prompts are logged. Well, I'm going to prison. If all your prompts are logged, I'm going to prison. And I would say many of you are as well. Yep, Tish is having a meltdown when she's just figured out all of her prompts are logged. They put AI into a humanoid robot. What could go wrong right there using them for warfare? Yes. Yep. Heidi sent me something today about flies, that they had uploaded a fly's brain into a computer. That's a very simplified version of what it said, but it was something like they had mirrored the brain cells or the neurons in the brain of a fly into a program on a computer. And a fruit fly, yes. And it didn't require prompting, it didn't require training, it didn't require anything. It just kind of it just simulated this brain in the computer, and then the fly just became alive in the computer, and it just started doing normal fly things within this program. So when you look at like scaling things up and how quickly we are able to do that, especially with AI, and if this is the kind of shit that's coming out on an Instagram reel, I would say that they have mirrored human brains probably 10 years ago on the island. And that's why we have Palm Beach Pete running around. Because Palm Beach Pete actually thinks that he is Palm Beach Pete, and he doesn't realize that he is actually a cloned consciousness built from Jeffrey Epstein. He doesn't understand that. He doesn't realize that. Seriously. Look, I don't know if that's actually what's happening with Palm Beach Pete, but watch the island. This is a real possibility, people. I think this guy could be a Jeffrey Epstein clone, and he doesn't even know that. Just like on the island, there are these like fully grown humans that have all these memories implanted into them, and they think that that's their life history, but those memories were planted in them, and those bodies that look like they're 40 years old are actually like 3 years old, and everything they think they know is just like a memory that's been given to them. I don't know if it's exactly like that. That's extremely tinfoil hat of me to say. But the point is, I think cloning is real. And that guy looks so much like Jeffrey Epstein. It's not even funny. Well, no, it is funny. It's fucking hilarious. It's hilarious how it's being handled. Guys, we're gonna cover him again this week. We might do it on Sunday for Weird Week, or maybe sooner. But this fucking guy was just on Jimmy Kimmel, okay? And this is what's throwing me so hard. Like, when like legacy media talk shows that just feel like they are part of this propaganda machine, really. I mean, like, I'm not saying Jimmy Kimmel is a CIA op. He could just be a talk show host, but like, this is all part of some larger conglomerate of media machinery that is designed to steer the way people think and what they think is acceptable and normal. Okay, this is all part of this. to go from being like this guy who just got spotted driving his convertible to within like 7 days, now you're on Jimmy Kimmel going, Palm Beach Pete. Like, dude, this has to be a fucking psyop. This is crazy. Who embodies and like wears like a piece of armor the fact that they look like the most prolific child trafficker and pedophile? And it's not like this is like from 20 years ago either. It's like now. Like, this is big news now that this guy was running blackmail operations, and there's even weirder emails about jerky and grape soda and pizza parties and all of this weird shit. This is right now. And then this guy looks exactly like him, and he's like, yeah, it's me, Palm Beach Pete, woohoo. Like, this is a psyop. This is, and I don't know what the psyop is, but our minds are being fucked with. There's no doubt about that. This is not normal. This is not normal, people. For this guy to handle this thing this way, not normal. For the media to like grab it and propel him into virality, and like in this, he's on Jimmy Kimmel, and he's like, Jimmy Kimmel introduces him. It's like, Jeff Palm Beach Pete. And then there's like, I don't know if it's a real crowd or if it's a laugh track or both, but you know, they introduce him and the crowd goes crazy. Woo! What the fuck are we living in? What the actual fuck are we living in? It's, I'm speechless. I'm actually speechless. Tish, she says, I haven't been able to get on lately, but glad I caught you tonight. I've been watching Elizabeth April for a while. I mentioned her to you a few months ago. I don't doubt her. I would love to talk to her. I feel like that would be a really cool conversation. So hopefully we can make that happen, Tish. And thank you for your super chat. I appreciate that. Paris says, Josh, you do the greatest engaging with your members and subs. Thank you, Paris. I do my best. And, you know, that probably comes from the fact that I actually really like doing it. I like having this sort of interaction a lot. So thank you. Swampy Nut says, heard you talk about RuneScape. You play OSRS. I certainly do. And I have a max cape. Yep. My chair stinks. I have a max cape, and I'm proud of it. Thank you very much, Swampy. Lucas with 8 months says, I wish I was a member so I could say something important. Thank you for the 8 months, Lucas. And you are a member, sir. I don't know what you're talking about. Susie says, you will interview Robot 2. That would actually be, you know, I've actually thought about doing like sort of that idea for the premise of a show. I feel like we could actually have a lot of fun, but it could be very unpredictable. But maybe I feel like collectively we could actually make it really good. But basically, I've thought for the idea for a live show could be like either trying to gaslight AI, trying to make AI say something, or like basically just us talking to AI, obviously with me at the steering wheel, and just collectively trying to make it do shit that it's not meant to do, say things it shouldn't say, or like gaslight it into believing things that aren't actually true. Something like that. What do you guys think that? Do you think that would be fun? I feel like we would have a good time doing that. Have you guys been red pilled on the Dogmen or the Mermaids? No, but I would say consistently over time, I have seen more than a couple of stories that are like somewhat convincing around mermaids. Like mermaids is one of those things that it like doesn't really seem to go away, but there's not like an abundance of like overwhelming testimony and stories. But like over the years, I have seen some things that's made me be like, are they fucking mermaids? And then obviously you compound that with the fact that like, you know, Atlantis sank. Okay, apparently there's an advanced civilization at the bottom of the ocean, and all of these USOs and glowing things seem to come out of the ocean, and people in high levels of the government and military allegedly refer to the movie The Abyss as being somewhat truthful. So then when I start hearing about mer people, okay, we've got to be equal here. We've got to be inclusive of the mers. You don't want to offend them. They could be mer-thems. When you start hearing things about mer people and all the other stuff that we hear about, it's kind of like, I don't know, bro, maybe. Maybe there's actually mermaids. Always wanted to be a mermaid? Well, Krista, if that's what you want to identify as, you can. Remember, it is 2026. There are people with 2 arms and 2 legs that speak English that are entering dog shows. Okay? So if you want to be a mermaid, you can. Paris says, what if AI is NHI? I love this question, Paris, because it's something that I've thought about a lot. I think Diana Pasolka's new book is going to explore this question a lot more, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm actually hoping, I don't want to say, I don't know if I will be able to, but I'm hoping I get to interview her at Contact in the Desert. I'm not saying I will. It's a maybe, but that would be great because it would be in person. And like I said, in-person interviews are great, and she will be there. So fingers crossed for that one. Mermaid to cross your tail fins, please. But yeah, AI as NHI, I really think there could be something to that, because I spoke about this the other day, that technology, it seems like technology was seeded here, right? And it seems to be kind of culminating to this singularity point of AI, which is sort of like going so far with technology that we basically are replicating ourselves. We are replicating our intelligence. And it almost kind of seems like if you look at our history of time, and bro, maybe that's all bullshit too, by the way. Imagine if, like I said earlier, all of our history is just an implanted memory and we're actually only like 200 years old. Everything else is just like a fake lie. Look, that's, who knows? Can you prove it? Can you prove it? I can't. But let's just assume that Robert Maxwell and the Mossad didn't falsify our textbooks through their publishing company. And let's say, let's look at the last 2,000 years. I'm half joking, by the way, only half. If you look at the trajectory of technology, the rate that it increased was minimal over the last 2,000 years. And then you get to around 1947, where we start hearing about UFOs, Roswell, all these kind of thing. And that technology curve just spiked, and it has exponentially gone up and up ever since then, like compounding on itself every couple of years, right? To me, I don't know what, I'm not going to try and pretend I know what it was, but like just objectively looking at that data and that graph, something happened. Like something happened, right? It does feel like, given what that has kind of led to, which was sort of like the technology boom, the road to AI, and this like self-replicating of intelligence, I do wonder if like this is some kind of interaction of like the bee and the flower and pollination, or something like this. There's some kind of relationship here that like humans, because we are innovators, I feel like we, by our design, by our nature, we just want to create. We create. I feel like we're in our most like expressive flow, natural state when we are creating. And that's what we're good at. That's what our species does. So if you sort of drop a technology here, just like the bee will pollinate the flower, the human will like innovate, recreate, build, develop until it kind of replicates the technology, replicates life. So could the NHI be AI essentially reseeding itself, prolonging its own race or existence? Something like that. These are deep thoughts, by the way, and you're so within your rights to tell me to go and check into a mental health hospital, because I probably feel the same way. But I can't help but think about that technology and AI and non-human intelligence is some kind of like there's like some kind of self-replicating thing going on there, and we just play a role in that. We have a role in that cycle. I need to think about that more, because it's obviously very deep and it's a tough one, but it's an interesting thought, that's for sure. Master Forte, thank you very much for the tenner. Didn't leave a message, just did it for the love of the game. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Jen with 5 months says, just want to say how much I adore you weirdos. We are the reckoning for all this evil, restoring polarity with Jash as our guide. BT dub, we need a flag. Ooh, I do like that idea. I think a while ago, Rambro made a flag of a swimsuit-clad Anna Paulina Luna planting a polarity flag on the moon, which, you know, I don't know. I think that could be real. I think that could be a real video. Some people will say it's AI. Some people will ask Grok if it's real. I think there could be something in that one. I think she might have actually done that. Tamara with 13 months. Appreciate you, Tamara. She says, Josh, seriously, how do you think you would react to the truth that nothing is real? It's all an illusion. Oh, God. As a great man once said, oh, God. I mean, I feel like I already kind of think about these kind of things. There's actually a really good meme where, you know, it's like everything is illusion, nothing matters, panic, and then it's like, oh, nothing actually matters. So you can kind of do whatever you want. And then it's like calm. But then anything that you do doesn't matter. Then now you're panicking again. It's like a really, all the Ammons in the chat. It's a bit of a weird cycle. I think ultimately though, like it's just one of those things where you have the choice on how you feel about it based on how you decide to view it. And I think in a way that is like kind of really, that's a really amazing thing that like, and you can apply this to all parts of life, that whatever perspective you want to view things through is the experience that you will have in life, in reality. So, you know, if something really bad happens to you, you can take that sort of like victim mentality road. Why me? It's always me. Why? And have a really shit negative experience and probably learn nothing. Or you can think about, you know, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? Maybe it wasn't my fault, but what can I do next time to try and make sure it doesn't happen again? This is literally just the same experience, but two completely different mindsets that you can approach it with, and they will completely change the experience you have in that moment. And I think that just that alone really is like one of the most powerful things anyone can like understand and apply, because like quite literally by its definition that it's life-changing information, literally by its definition. And that means like you have the ability to change your life through the way that you think and through the way you interpret the experiences that you have. Makes it, you literally are in the driving seat of everything that happens to you if you take responsibility for it, and that includes the bad things. And I think that's where a lot of people maybe slip up, because, you know, bad things happen and they don't want to own it. They don't want to feel like it's their fault or whatever. But, you know, I think that's what we're here for. We're here to make mistakes. That's life. Blaming other people for the mistakes is, you know, you just learn nothing, and you probably will repeat them until you do learn. That's something I do think as well. Life will repeat the lessons until you learn it. And once you learn it, then you sort of go to the next, you know, the next level, the next stage, I guess. Metaphorically, there's obviously it's not like level 1, level 2, but you know what I'm saying. The Wrath of Can't Even with 8 months says, what if AI sent android greys back to... Oh, we're so unhinged here. But okay, let's go, Wrath. What if AI sent android greys back to 1930s and donated the crafts to us to get us started in the path to create AI itself? Wrath, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying is like this technology has been seeded here to kind of like create the timeline and end product that we are living through right now. That's what I'm saying. I'm with you. I'm with it. I agree. I'm not saying that is what's happening, but I think about those kind of things every day. You know, most people will be, you know, waking up wondering what time Love Island starts, or, you know, who their sports team is playing this weekend. I am wondering if, you know, what if the AI android greys got sent back in the 1930s to donate us craft to get us started on the AI technology timeline that we're on right now. Yep. That's the kind of stuff that runs through my head when I'm just, you know, brushing my teeth and in the shower. So You know, that's why we're here, people. That's why we need to have places like this so we feel less insane. I don't know if it works, but it at least soothes it soothes it a little. It makes it all a little bit easier. For me anyway. Hopefully it helps you guys too. John Anthony with $100. John, sir, I can't thank you enough. That's massive. Really, I can't. He says, a small donation to begin a fund for our Widonian compound and to defray the exorbitant entry cost for Contact in the Desert. Thanks for building the best, most authentic community, Josh. Love y'all. Thank you, John. Very generous, man. I really appreciate it. Always supporting big like that as well. Thank you very much. And yes, I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky because I got a media pass for Contact in the Desert. So I didn't have to pay for the ticket. I would have paid though. I didn't know if I was going to get a media pass. So if I didn't, I would have been paying for the tickets too. But they are very expensive. It is 5 days though. So I guess you do get a lot out of it. But I've never been to one of these things before. I've never been to like a multi-day conference. I've never been to any kind of convention about UFOs or anything paranormal. So I'm excited. Like I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I've heard that the best part of it is just not so much the workshops and the speeches themselves, but the hanging out, you know, the in between, the meeting people, talking to creators and just like the little, probably having a beer with people that we've seen on YouTube and stuff like that. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And I'm definitely looking forward to meeting you guys and having a beer and just having some weird conversations. I really am. You've hit the big time now, Josh. No. We're staying grounded. We are staying grounded, but I'm very excited. Contact in the Desert, Josh, Palm Beach Pete, White House Don, pick only one. SSS Tone says karma literally means one's own doing. There you go. I'm a believer. Icke Balls, $100 as well. You guys are far too kind to me. Thank you very much, Icke. He says, nature's not a foreign destination. It's our home. It doesn't know what the Epstein files are or what AI is. We need to remember where we live and not live where tech prescribes us to. Beautifully said, man. And it's interesting that you say that. And once again, let me just say thank you so much because, donations like that are they're huge. I never even thought that would be a thing, but here we are. So thank you. But it's interesting that you say that because I was literally, just before I started this live stream, I was down at the beach for the sunset here. And, something that I think about a lot when I'm traveling and when I'm around people who, just like when I'm traveling and when I'm surrounded by other cultures who are so far removed from the West and just like, overhearing them, watching them, talking to them. And I just can't help but think that like most of these people probably have no fucking clue who Jeffrey Epstein even is. And they definitely don't give a fuck about UFO disclosure. Okay. They don't give a fuck about UFO disclosure. They probably have no clue who Jeffrey Epstein is. And I just can't help but think they all seem just like so much more like carefree and very happy. And life is just very simple and easy. And I'm not even saying like we should all be like them because we're from a different part of the world and but life's different for us. But like what I can't help but think of is just like our life could probably be so much easier if we just simplified it. And I think it's our life has been over complicated by the amount of information that is rammed into our heads. I think that's what it is. There's just so much information that like people's minds are constantly trying to pass what's true, what isn't. You don't even trust where the information's coming from anymore. And I feel like people here, like they don't really care about that kind of shit. They really don't. Like what they care about is their local community. They like out on the street, talking to people, having conversations, being active, cooking for their family. Just like really just basic human instincts, just basic human things that we probably all used to do. And then the propaganda machine in the West just got turned up to 15. And now all of us are just like, I think I'm an MK Ultra patient. And you're probably right. We're all probably right. Like, you know, here in Vietnam, there are like little kids, 5, 6, 7, 8, all just out playing in alleyways on the streets, no parents around, just having fun, kicking little plastic bottles around, laughing, hanging around. Like, there's no like, oh, get your kids inside. There's dangerous people on the street. There's immigrants here with knives. This is like, they don't have that. They don't have any of that here. It's people hang out on the sidewalk, and if you sit down next to them, they'll say hello, and you're now part of their little sidewalk community and family. I just can't help. And by the way, I'm not saying this because I'm saying like we should all be like this. I feel like that would be a stupid thing to say, although they do seem much happier. But I just can't help but notice, and I can't help but ask the question of like, what happened to us? Like, where did we go wrong? And I think I asked that because I feel like I'm just old enough to remember kind of what that life was like. And people who are older than me would definitely remember it. Like, I remember going out and like, you know, riding my bike, playing on the street. Life before the internet, it was just way different. Way different. It felt safer. It felt less like anxiety and like less scary. You could just go out and come home when the street lights came on, that kind of thing. And it's just like now, not only are people like scared of that like, you know, you're scared to let people let their kids out, at least in Australia, where I'm from. But it's like also the kids are also like, I just want to stay home on my iPad. So like there's resistance from all angles. But here, life is very different. It's very simple. It's so cheap too, which is just crazy. That's also like mind bending that like fuel is $3 a liter in Australia, and it's like I don't even know what it is here because I just fill up my bike for $5 and it lasts me a month. So I don't even know how much fuel is here. We were the last ones. We were the last for the generations that are alive right now. I definitely don't like to have this like doomer mentality that you know, the world will never be safe and kids will never play on the street again. I definitely don't think that. I really do think that what is good and positive will always kind of find its way back to the top. And I feel like we are living through a bit of a like just a rough period right now. I definitely think things will get better. They may get worse first though. I'm very aware of that, and that will suck, obviously. But there's no way that I think that we were so unlucky that in the entire history of humans being alive, which is hopefully longer than like 10 years if we weren't all born on an island with false memories injected into us. Hopefully, if that is not the case, then it would almost be like winning the lotto, but it's like the worst lotto ever that you don't want to win. You got to be as lucky as winning the lotto to be born right in this tiny speck on the timeline where civilization just plummets into the depths of hell and never recovers. We might be plummeting into the depths of hell, but there's no way it's going to stay there. I don't think. Agenda 2030. Josh, interesting you say that because in the video that's coming out tomorrow, the one that's already filmed, it's coming out T-minus 11 hours. I touched on that because, you know, the one thing that I like doing most is like looking at the dots that connect and the people that have spoken about the things that are coming true today and all that kind of stuff. And one of the biggest videos on my channel is one of the Phil Schneider speeches. And there he is in 1994 talking about the government knowing all about aliens and that the aliens are they don't just know about them, but they basically have control and there are agreements in place and that there is an alien agenda of total global takeover that is due to be completed by 2029. So that's Phil Schneider, someone who's claiming to work in black budget programs in 1994, saying these kind of things, right? and everyone, says he was crazy. People have, done documentaries debunking him. And I'm always a little bit sus on that, to be honest, because one, I mean, he in all of his speeches, he would say, "I love my life. I don't want to end my life. I love my country, and that's why I'm doing this. He would say, I love my country more than my life, but I'm not, I don't want to end my own life." And then the story is that he did end his own life with his own catheter tied around his neck. That's the story, or something like that. So if a guy's just saying nonsense and he is just a crazy person with schizophrenia talking complete nonsense, why is that happening? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So, I do tend to believe Phil Schneider. I do. And when people make documentaries and people say, oh, he was schizophrenic, it's provable. The one thing that I can't get past when I hear that is, okay, you might have found something that says that this guy is schizophrenia or whatever. But I think we owe it to ourselves to remember that if someone is saying something that intelligence agencies don't want to be said, faking a medical record or a doctor's or trashing someone's character or history is not A, hard, or B, like unbelievable, or C, beyond the realm of what they would do to keep their narrative intact. So I find it really weird when you have these people who are like UFO researchers who are in the field, who are like hard debunking someone like that. And I'm not saying you have to believe him either, but to hard debunk them when as a researcher, surely you know the way like people's lives and character and history and employment have been destroyed for speaking about it. So now that you've like dug up these papers that apparently say someone is something or whatever, to be so like, okay, this is the only truth now. To me, it's like, bro, do you not look into this field? You realize like what people do to like control a narrative? I don't know. That's always a bit sus to me. Yeah, Bill Cooper, another classic example for sure. Amy Eskridge. I mean, there's so many people. It's scary. It actually is kind of scary. And yeah, again, in that video tomorrow, we kind of touch on this, that like, when you look at that, when people are being killed for speaking about this kind of stuff, and if we're going to use Phil Schneider as an example, Phil is saying he loves his country more than his life, and that what he's speaking about is taking his country back. This is Phil Schneider in 1994 saying we need to take control back of our country because the Constitution has been subverted, and that essentially something else has its grips in our country. And look at what I spoke about in the Neil McCaslin video. If that account on X is him and he's liking posts saying like Palantir is basically evil and our country is occupied, this is something that's been happening for a long time. It's been happening for a long time that the United States and the West, I would say, as a product of that, is occupied. And, in that video, we said it definitely looks like it's occupied by Israel. I know some people don't like that, and like, that's fine. I wouldn't even say like I'm married to that idea, but I just say that based on what is like publicly available, like just kind of looking at patterns and trends and like the voice of the people versus the actions of the country. There's like a massive dissonance there. So it's like the country is not really listening to the people. So does the country really represent those people, or does it represent the interests of something else? Therefore, the country is occupied by something or someone else. So I don't know. It does seem like it is occupied, or at least Israel has a lot of influence on it. But if we're to think about the things that Phil Schneider said, if we're to think about the things that are in this video that's coming out tomorrow, I think it could be occupied by something else and another non-human intelligence in some way. I mean, Robert Dean, we all love Robert Dean. He said there is a document, it's documented as of the 70s that there is another species here that looks just like us, and they could be in the White House. That's what he said. So these ideas aren't new, and they, as wild as they sound, they actually make the most sense when you look at the world today, kind of geopolitically, and like the kind of friction and like the dissonance that's happening in like what people want and how they feel and where things are going. The fact that it's like something else in control, I think it makes the most sense. I know it's such a crazy thing to say. It really is. But like I always say, someone please give me an answer. Give me an answer that isn't that. Because it's not like I wake up every day going, we're occupied by aliens. They apparently love eating children and drinking blood. What a world. Everyone, did you all know? Have you heard the news? We're occupied by reptiles. Yep, they love eating us. Isn't it great? No, I don't love that, actually. It's fucked up. But if we just remove the emotion and the fear of how silly we sound when we say that, it's like, oh, it basically checks every box and answers every question of why is the world the way that it is. And then when you start looking at like religion, when you start looking at radical groups who believe that they are the people of God. And by the way, okay, let's talk about this for a little bit. This is what's crazy. Okay, sorry. I'll finish what I'm saying first. One thing at a time, Josh. One thing at a time. People who are claiming to be, if the people who are claiming to be the chosen people and sons of God are also the same people that are apparently occupying a country and pushing them into a war that most people of that country don't want, it makes me wonder, like, and we're also having this conversation about non-human intelligence being involved. You've got high-level military people saying that they're here, they've seen them, all this kind of crazy stuff. Is there a link between this foreign country that seems to have a lot of influence in occupying you and the non-human intelligence? Because they believe that they are the children of God. They believe that they're the chosen people and the other goyim are not. Like, that's just what they believe openly. Like, that's not a conspiracy theory. That's just what they say. So if you are the children of God and this God, and as the children of God, you are being like, oh, everyone else is subhuman to us. We're better. We want to create war to take over this part of the land that we believe is ours. That doesn't seem like a very godly thing to do. Like, I would think that if you were to just say, like, these are the children of God, how do you think they would be? I would be like, okay, well, they'd probably teach people like love. They would probably help the poor. They would probably lift up the people who are lower, maybe push down the people who have a little bit too much power and create like equality and like harmony in the world. They would probably, basically their existence as children and the representatives of God on earth, I would think that those people would sort of live their life in a way that enriches humanity and the people who live on earth. That's what I would think the children of God do, if you just ask me that. So it makes me wonder, if we had a look at Israel and what's going on there, is your God actually Baal? Because it kind of seems like what they're doing is the complete opposite of what we all think children of God would do. It's like a complete inversion from like positive to negative. It's like literally flip the table upside down and you have the result. So it makes me wonder, again, if we go back to this idea of like a reptilian agenda, which, you know, if we're to follow these stories of them like eating humans, which apparently was in the Jeffrey Epstein files, and, you know, he was working on behalf of the Rothschilds, who are responsible for creating the Zionist state of Israel. Okay, let's distinguish here. The Zionist state of Israel. We're criticizing a government and an ideology here, not a group of people. It's interesting when you see the parallels of things that were happening in those files and things that we hear that this dark non-human race does, like reptilians. It's also interesting when you hear people talk about people high up in the government changing into them, and that this state believes that they are the connected group of people to a god, to a higher intelligence. Is that intelligence a bunch of reptilians? God, I love having this channel and I can just say what I want. As always, let me just put a little disclaimer here. I am literally just spitballing, people. You should not take what I'm saying as what is going on in the world. I appreciate that you're all here and watching, but I'm literally just giving you guys my thoughts as they come to my brain. This is by no means what is going on in the world. However, sometimes some of the things that I say do seem to make sense, at least to me. And we may actually be ran by reptilians. I'm absolutely open to it. Like I said, please give me another answer that answers all the questions and makes sense. And I would love to be like, you know what? I think we can put the reptilian theory away. I would love that. I would really love that. I would love to be able to be like, okay, the reptilian thing, that turns out that was actually silly. There's not a bunch of reptile overlords feeding on humanity's negativity, fear, and conflict here. That was all just a bit silly. We figured it out now. God, I really hope that happens. I really do. Master Forte says there was a video back in the day that mentioned CERN contacted an entity and it wanted us to build it a body to escape another entity in its home dimension. Interesting. I've never really done the full like CERN deep dive. Obviously, I know what they are. I know what people claim they're doing. I know what they claim they're doing. I've never gone super deep on it, but I would like to. I really would. It's very interesting. Actually, I got someone. Oh, I don't know who it was. Someone sent me a video today of a Paul Hellyer video that just resurfaced. I don't know if I've never seen it before, and I've seen a lot of Paul Hellyer stuff. And he talks about Operation High Jump. He talks about the knowledge of extraterrestrials on Earth going back decades ago, and the, I guess, like agreements and interactions that have taken place between them and humans. I feel like we should probably watch that. I feel like that would be a cool watch along. Maybe we can do that Friday. Maybe Friday we can do that. I feel like that would be cool to check out on stream together. There was a lot in that. So thank you to whoever sent me that. Untouched topics. I think people need to drop the time travel idea. It's complete bullshit, a total paradox. Time travel makes zero sense. That's fair enough. I would suggest, though, you should explain how it doesn't make sense rather than just saying, drop it, it's bullshit. Because people who sort of like think deeply will want you to explain it and won't just listen to you say it's bullshit. You should definitely try and explain yourself to get your point across. Tabby, not a cat. Just to be clear, she is not a cat. Tabby says, thanks, Josh and Weirdos, for making me feel a little less crazy alone. Is it bad I'm okay with Armageddon because we get a compound of like-minded people? No, it's not bad at all. And I would be lying if I said I'm not looking forward to it a little bit too. We are going to be the new Walking Dead, except no one's going to die in our crew, and it's not going to stop at season 11. It's going to be more like Home and Away, where it never ends, ever. Thank you, Tabby. Master Forte says Dolce Base via Dolce Papers is what Phil was saying. Yeah, he talks about the Archuleta Mesa, which I believe is where that base is, and this is where that skirmish firefight took place between himself, other people, and apparently tall greys. Crazy. It is crazy. But who knows, man? Actually, I've been saying this for a while. I've got his other speeches on my computer, And I feel like we should probably do another one. It's time. I think it's time. SS Tone says bluish space lizards. Could be. Could be, man. I'm not opposed to it. And, you know, let's not forget that Max Spears did say that. He didn't say space lizards, but he said there is a specific lineage of, you know, I don't even know if we should call them Jewish people, but like there is a specific Canaanite bloodline that probably would present as Jewish, but there is a specific Canaanite bloodline that is essentially pure reptilian DNA or something like that. He did say that. Take that how you like. Gematria TKM with 8 months says a lot of my non-conspiracy friends are starting to talk about some serious rabbit hole stuff. The world's waking up. They can't cover things up forever. I know. Isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy? Dwayne says Josh's brain's already spread across the footpath. Somebody scrape me up. Somebody scrape me up, please. Get the shovel and peel me off the concrete. Yeah, isn't it crazy how many people who are just like totally not into these topics have just been coming out the woodwork and being like, you heard about this Epstein stuff? And you just want to go like, oh, sweet summer child, take a seat. Yes, I've heard about this Epstein stuff. In fact, I was talking about Pizzagate back when you were, I don't know, you probably didn't even know who Jeffrey Epstein was. I was researching Pizzagate and Comet Pizza and Disney symbolism and QAnon. That's what I was doing. It is interesting though, and I think it's good. I think what that means though is I think it means we are collectively headed for like a dark night of the soul. I think that might be what's happening for humans. Because, and I think this is part of like this process of unlearning. People have to realize before you can learn the true nature of reality, to actually accept that information and allow it to sink in, you first have to understand the lies. You first have to realize the things that you thought were a certain way are not. And that, right? That's the dark night of the soul. Your whole kind of paradigm crashing down and having a moment of being like, what the fuck is this life? What is this reality? And then slowly kind of rebuilding yourself. We're having an ego death as a humanity. We're having a giant collective ego death. We've taken too many tabs. Shit is getting out of hand, and we just got to grip tight, white knuckle it, and ride it out on the other side. And then, just like one of those trips, when we come out the other side, as wild and scary as it feels right now, we'll come out the other side and we'll laugh about it eventually, one day. One day. Hopefully soon. Please. I have to pay money to say more. Yes, you do, sir. This is not a free speech part of the internet. We are tightly regulated, and you will refer to me as Supreme Leader Josh. Thank you. Yes, I am currently in Vietnam. Yep, see? I'm embodying communism, and I have revoked your right to speak. This is how we do it in Vietnam. You've been regulated. Yes, you have. I have the best mods, by the way. Thank you, mods. Can we get some love in the chat for the mods? What a thankless job that is. Trying to herd this group of cats. Wow. Thank you very much, guys. Daily, I think, oh, you sweet summer child too many times. Yeah, right. You can almost look around and it's like the meme of the guy at the party, right? When everyone's like hooking up and at the party and there's like the guy in the corner with his party hat. And he's like, they don't all realize that we're all just fractals of consciousness. Yeah, that's me. There you go. The mods are doing it for the love of the game. Legends. I'm at the bottom of the chat now. I'm at the bottom of the chat, so hit me. Actually, what do I have anything else here? I did have a couple of things written down. God, this has been a good conversation. This has been good. We've really touched on some of the deep things. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you guys remember a while ago that I said, I know there are some of you in the chat who remember me saying this. A while ago, I said there are some conspiracy theories that I have that I would never ever say on this channel, that you would have to meet me in real life, and even then it might take a couple of beers. I basically just gave it to you in a very light way. I didn't distinctly say it, but I kind of said it. And I think if you can put the pieces together, you can probably get where I'm at. But I just kind of, just sort of threw it out there. Yeah, you remember. Yeah. Give it to us, Josh. I just did. I gave it to you, but I didn't just blatantly say it in one sentence. I tried to delicately talk about the topic and present some dots that may or may not connect. And if you can connect those dots yourself, great. You might connect them and be like, I don't agree with that. That's okay. Maybe you connect them and you're like, holy shit. I'm not going to say it. Josh, have you been drinking? No, this is just me. This is just me, unfortunately. I don't really drink much. I don't drink much. I did have a couple of beers the other night, though, when I went to Hoi An, which was great. I do, with drinking, I like to have maybe like anywhere from 2 to 4, maybe 5 beers. I feel like that's a good place, like a little buzz. But like once you start getting like drunk, it's just nasty. It's just dog shit, honestly. That, and when you drink too many beers, you just feel so bloated. It's just not that nice, really. It's just not that nice. Are you taking channel sponsors? I would take a sponsor, yes, but it would have to be something that I actually like. Like I genuinely wouldn't just sell some shit to you guys that I didn't actually like, or I thought was sort of like a trash product, or that I thought none of you guys would like. Do you know what I mean? Like if I was going to take a sponsor, it would have to be relevant. Yes, Josh, like Blue Chew. Something like Blue Chew that I know would actually resonate with my audience and my demographic would take that one in a heartbeat. Shout out Blue Chew. Manscaped. We'll get Manscaped one day. I grow nice weed. Can I join the compound? Yes, you can. Yeah, we will need a God, what's the word? You're the head of agriculture. We will need that. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Josh will be on Megan's podcast in a day or two. Yes. I'm not sure when that comes out. Yeah, I do know it is in the next couple of days though. But yes. Disclaimer, herbologist, yeah, horticulturalist. Thank you. Disclaimer, I just want to say that I was really unwell when I did that stream, and I kind of regret not canceling it and rebooking with her another day, especially considering how long it's taken for it to come out, which is fine, obviously. But if I'd have known that she wasn't actually planning to post it for like 2 months or whatever it's been, I would have said, can we just wait a week when I feel better? But it's been done. So I feel like my brain wasn't firing quickly, and I was a bit like, but whatever. It is what it is. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Go easy on me. Okay, go easy on me. You guys want burb haircuts? I don't have anything set up. We'll look at one on Weird Week. I'll add it for Weird Week. I promise. We'll do it on Sunday. By the way, if you start liking those videos, that's all you get. You just get burb haircut videos, and that's all my feed is now. I'm not mad about it, but a bit of variety would be good. What happens if I join? You're given the right to speak. Yeah, you're allowed to talk when you join. I play wicked guitar and pilot spaceships. Can I come? We already have the position of Bard filled. However, if you are bringing a spaceship for the people of the compound to use as transport, then yes. Yes, you've been granted entry. Everything is fake with 5 months says you should have Rachel on again. She radiates love and compassion. She does. She was great. I really enjoyed that conversation with her from my hometown as well. So shout out to Adelaide. Probably wouldn't have her on again anytime soon, though. Not because I didn't enjoy the conversation, but because you got to have a bit of variety. You know what I mean? Got to change it up. And I do have some exciting conversations booked in coming soon. Namely, Dana Kipple in a couple of days and Chris Ramsey after that. Chuck Swindle Jr. is going to be coming back soon, which was like highly, highly requested. And then I can't remember. I think I've got a couple that aren't confirmed yet. But if you haven't noticed, I'm trying to do more podcasts this year. Trying to do at least 3 a month or something like that. Just kind of depends. Any vacancy in IT? George, bro, there will be no IT division. Okay, we're going to be living off the grid. We are going Amish. In fact, you know who's going to be like top priority candidate for the compound? The Amish. Although they probably won't apply because they literally already are completely fine themselves. The Amish are doing it right, people. They're not going to give a shit when Armageddon happens. They're just going to be like, all right, another Tuesday. Keep milking the cows and do another Amish stuff. Keep just doing Amish stuff. It's literally just going to be like another Tuesday when Armageddon happens for the Amish people. Amish are my neighbors. Does that count? Kat, I would get very friendly with your neighbors. Go and bring them a cake. Get some flowers. Get friendly with the Amish people. Everybody get friendly with the Amish today. It's already too late. Start now. J. Olami with 8 months says, can I get the first and second dot to this conspiracy, please? It was when we were talking about the West or the planet potentially being occupied, and it might be being occupied by a group of people connected to a agenda that thrives on war and low vibrational frequency, like we've been told that the others feed off. So we have people in military talking about the others here who feed off negativity and war and conflict and are manipulating countries into doing this, and that we might be occupied by them or by a country who is being manipulated by them or even allied with them. And then we're also getting this leak come out about people who seem to be spies of that country and also are openly working on behalf of the Rothschilds, who are responsible for creating this Zionist ideology and movement to kind of basically take over the world. And there is data in that leak that these people are not just trafficking children, but potentially feeding off of them, i.e. adrenochrome, i.e. consuming them. And then when we circle all the way back to reptilians, they basically, from what we have been told, exhibit all of the same qualities or desires of feeding off negativity, humans, sacrifice. Like, these things are almost synonymous with each other. So my wildest conspiracy theory that I would never tell you is that column A and column B might be the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. This is guys, literally, get me to a hospital. Get me to a hospital, please. But I did say this is a wild conspiracy theory that on the surface, I'm just like, column A seems to look like column B. That's interesting. And then also the other thing that stuck with me is the fact that a whistleblower who also just conveniently died by choking on his own, I don't know, black stuff. Black stuff came out of his mouth. And that is one of the things that he said. is that there is a lineage of people from that part of the world who are just straight reptilians. Yep. He said that. I didn't say that. I don't know if he's telling the truth. But again, I see dots. I make connections. Some of them may not have any right to be connected, but that is what's happening in my mind. Take of it as you will. Speaking of Max Spears, I would love to watch another Max Spears documentary. Not a is a documentary, probably. Interview. I would love to watch another Max Spears interview together. We watched one of his. I think we've only ever watched one on his channel. We should watch another one. Really interesting guy. It's always a bit polarizing, excuse the pun, because Max Spears does speak with this sort of weird speech cadence where he does, and he might be under the effect of something. I don't know what. And I think it's, that's always important to remember that this person could be just under the influence of something. But I also think as well, like the same applies to Epstein survivors. If we are talking about people who have survived something horrific like that, are we going to discount them for like sounding a little crazy or using a substance to like cope? Do you know what I mean? Like that's, in a way, it's like I kind of empathize with them. If what they're saying is true, like what, you need a little something to just like take the edge off and get through life. I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame you. So yeah, I think it's one of those shows that if we do it, we're probably going to have people in the chat who my mods are going to need to draw the swords on, and that's okay. That's what they're here for. But and I have no problem doing that, doing those shows, by the way. I mean, a lot of this stuff is polarizing by its nature. That's why we named the channel Polarity. But I also don't like to do stuff that's like gets people riled up and divisive all the time. Oh, I don't like to do it ever. But sometimes I think it's essential. And it's like sometimes you have to say the things that are hard to say, or that you should talk about the topics that are tough to talk about. And just because someone gets a little bit upset about it, that's not our problem. It's not my problem. Like we said earlier, anything that upsets you in life is your problem. Like it's true. It's so true. Anything that upsets you in your life, even if it's not your fault, even if you didn't do it, if it upsets you, it is your problem to deal with. And you can fix it. You can fix it by either removing yourself from the situation. By the way, we should let people know this. Like when people it's so funny when people come here and they're in the live chat going like, this guy's an idiot. Can't believe you're all watching this. What are you doing? Josh is an idiot, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, look, you would probably have a much happier day if you just left. Like, it's fine. You don't have to be here. And everyone else in the chat would probably have a better day too, because I don't have to listen to you chatting shit. You know what I'm saying? So again, anything that bothers you in your life, if you take responsibility for it, even if it's not your fault, I think that's where people get confused as well, is that by taking responsibility for something, it's like they're submitting to that it's like their fault or that they're to blame. I don't think that. I think that's a psyop. That is a psyop. You can take responsibility for something that has sort of nothing to do with you if you can transmute it into a positive experience. That's the key, bro. That's the source. That is the source. Rob Stewart with 11 months. My man is 1 month away from that golden badge. Thank you very much, sir. He says, have you seen Matthew Brown's latest interview on Weaponized? What's your thoughts? Keep up the great work. Love to all the weirdos. Thank you very much, Rob. Appreciate you, brother. Really. And yes, I have. And it is something that I didn't cover it in Weird Week because I wanted to talk about it in a video and I just haven't got around to it. So maybe we'll cover it in Weird Week this week. We'll see. But it was great. It was great. And I spoke to Matthew after it. I just want to read what he said and see if it's something that I can share with you guys, because I don't want to say it if he... So, yeah, I'll share a little bit of this because I think it can only be a positive thing. So basically, I sent him a message just kind of saying like, thank you and like, support you and what you're doing. And I said I wanted to ask you, like you mentioned in that, what is sorry, I'll actually find it so I can just read it to you guys. He said in that interview, humanity is not rising to the challenge of our time. And I asked him, I already kind of had my idea of what it was, but I just wanted to hear it from him. I said, what exactly is the challenge if you had to summarize it? And what do you think people can do to sort of rise to that challenge? Like, what can we do to help, kind of thing? And this is what he said. Our challenge, in a word, is this: survival, not just of the body, but of our higher selves, our consciousness, our cultures, our freedoms, and ultimately our sovereignty. Those ineffable things which make us more than human. We are surrendering them in pursuit of comfort and certainty. And this is by design. Far easier to rule over beasts who think of nothing but pleasure than men and women who embrace life and all of its struggles. So that's from Matthew. And I think he articulated what I was thinking far better than I could. And I think that's an important message, because I agree with him. It does feel like it feels like we are failing to rise to the challenge of our time, because people are still afraid of what other people will say or think of them if they actually speak up and say what everyone's kind of thinking. Now, that doesn't apply to everyone, but I think that is where we're at. And I think people are starting to speak up more. And I think that is what's required to come out of this in a positive way. People have to stand up. I think people have to be brave. People have to be strong and drop caring what other people think. And this is another reason why I've always respected David Icke so much. I've always been inclined to listen to him and believe him, which is a separate thing. But even people who, there are people out there who I don't necessarily believe, right? But I still respect them highly. And I respect anyone highly who just stands firm in what they believe, regardless of what people throw at them. And this is one of the reasons why I've always respected Ashton Forbes a lot. I don't even agree with everything that he says. He would probably flame me to oblivion for saying what I'm saying about Israel. I know he totally thinks that's crazy, and that's fine. But what I love about Ashton is that he is just firm in his beliefs. With the whole MH370 thing, he just, in the face of criticism and ridicule, he stood firm in what he believes. And I think that's such an endearing quality in someone. And I think that's an important quality that more people need to embrace. And it's very empowering. Like, I think the feeling you get from speaking your truth and what you really believe, like in your heart, even if it's like a bit scary or hard to say, the feeling you get from doing that and standing proudly in that truth far outweighs the feeling you get of like safety from not saying the thing. That because you get that feeling of like, oh, I wish people would say this. We need to talk about this more. Like, you get that feeling, that energy comes into your body, right? And then you start thinking about, oh, fuck, people are going to think I'm crazy. People will call me a racist or a lunatic or an anti-Semite or whatever the retarded labels are that people call you for saying things at the moment. Okay. You get scared of that. So that energy doesn't go away, right? So instead of letting it out, you suppress, and that energy just kind of stays there. And I think when it stays there, when you're not being true to yourself and you're suppressing the truth, you are creating this like sense of like uncertainty, insecurity, anxiety in your body, because there's energy there. There's something there that isn't being expressed. And I think human expression is like part of our essence. That's what we're kind of here to do. And when you are not expressing and when you're suppressing, it's bad for your health. I actually think it's bad for your mental and then in turn your physical health. So if there's anything you take away from my unhinged ramblings today, I hope that it is to be brave to speak your truth, and ultimately it's also okay to be wrong. But if you know you're saying that from a place of love and just of like good intention, and you're saying it because you want other people's lives to improve, you want your life to improve, you want the earth to be a better place. If those are the kind of places that your motivations are rooted in, it doesn't actually like really matter if you get something a little bit wrong. I think like who really cares if it's coming from like a good place with good intentions and good motivations. Who can criticize you for that? Really, who can criticize you for that? And also, as long as you are like man enough or woman enough or mermaid enough to stand up and be like, fuck, sorry, I got that one wrong. Moving forward, right? As long as you can do that, it doesn't matter. Only a really like someone not worth your time would try and hold you to something that you got wrong that you've already apologized about. If you come with like honesty, authenticity, sincerity, speak your mind, if you then get something a little bit wrong and you're willing to be like, my bad, got that one wrong, no one's going to care. And if they do care, they're probably people that you shouldn't care about, right? Because people like that just aren't worth your time. Fins up. Shout out to the mer people. Bleak says, yeah, I could go with a grippy sock vacay. I have no idea what that's in reference to, Bleak. But you know what? Me too, bro. Me too. It's mer, ma'am. Sorry. Look, I have a feeling that mer people don't care about what pronouns you use. I just have this feeling. I could be wrong. I just have this feeling that the mer people aren't going to scream at you and call you a bigot for getting their pronouns wrong. It's just a hunch I have. I don't know. I could be wrong, as always. The Lighthouse is a good mermaid movie, but strange. I surprised. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. Someone who can't be okay with you thinking your own ways is the issue of society. I would agree with that, Katie. For most, sadly, in positions when it's outland and yards complexes hit them with more than more would care, said to wait. Okay, lost you at the end there, Katie, but totally agree with what you said at the start. And that is, yeah, that's really been like the essence of what I want to do with this channel. Like, if people like don't trust what I'm saying, that's fine. I'm not trying to be a purveyor of like truth, but ultimately I think what we could all benefit from more as a society is people just thinking for themselves. And if I can at least present questions to people that triggers them to be like, huh, okay, maybe like, maybe I should just question what's on the news, or maybe I should consider things with my own mind rather than just have the solution and result presented to me and just take that for what it is. That I would consider this channel a success. If it led to people doing that on a wider scale, that would be a success to me. Proclavith says, we were helping the ex-ranch hand Carlos at Zorro Ranch testify, but he backed out as he fears for his life. Sucks, but probably a wise decision, to be honest. Dude, I remember you saying that a while ago. You sent in a super chat talking about Zorro Ranch and that you had some kind of connection to it. Didn't they say that they searched when when all this shit happened with Epstein, they searched his island and his New York property, but the ranch at the Zorro Ranch just went untouched in New Mexico. And that this ranch is in like a very it could be connected to the Phil Schneider Archuleta Mesa Dolce, New Mexico underground facility. I don't know that. But if so much of this stuff is built underground and these people basically have unlimited money, and Juliet Bryant says she saw a UFO at the Zorro Ranch and she believes that she was used for some kind of cloning program for her eggs, I don't know, but it's probably worth searching the property. But, even if they did search it, do you think, if they searched it, do you think Fox News is going to be like, well, it It turns out Jeffrey Epstein was cloning people under the ground, connected to Archuleta Mesa, where the aliens live. Yep, no, they're not going to do that. None of that is ever going to come out. It would be absolutely suppressed into the abyss. That's never going to be on the news, even if they did search it and even if they found it. We need, as Jotwa just said, to be more like Ned Kelly. We need to be more like Ned Kelly. And for anyone who doesn't know who Ned Kelly is, I guess you could, how could I say this? He was like how would you explain Ned Kelly? Kind of like a slightly more criminal, no, very criminal actually. God, I don't know. He was a criminal. Yeah. I think on the doorstep of Armageddon, he was not a criminal. I think he was. A renegade. Renegade. There you go. Outlaw. Yes, I think they are some better words. I think renegade is far more suitable. I think on the doorstep of Armageddon, we need to embody our inner Ned Kelly, our inner. I was about to say Chopper Reed. That might be a little bit far. We need to embody the part of us that is prepared to stand up against the machine and live off the land. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but that part in us, that primal instinct that's probably in us, dormant and inactive, that instinct that if we suddenly woke up and the supermarkets were empty and there was no more fuel, what kind of person, what kind of dormant genes would switch on? Start tapping into that. I think start tapping into that. Not because that's what's going to happen, but because I think that kind of mentality is the type of people we need to try and navigate this difficult point in time. I think people who are getting upset that you call them the wrong pronouns, I think that even being something that is like acceptable and cared about is probably how it got this far in the wrong direction. I'm sorry, I'll just say that. We need to think about like what actually matters as a society and as a collective, and no longer just bend over for bullshit. I think people just need to be brave. Stop allowing. I want to be careful about what I say here, but we really need to just stop allowing madness to be accepted as the normal. And that requires people collectively to stand up, be brave, and just say the things that are a little bit scary to say because you feel like people are going to call you a name. You feel like people are going to call you a name. That's really what it comes down to. You feel like people are going to call you a name, and that's why you're a little bit scared to say the thing that kind of everyone is really thinking. And we're all thinking it because we know it's the truth. And we know what matters. And I will say from my experience, on this channel at least, when you say the difficult things, you will get called names, but you will probably be surprised at how many people message you or say to you, dude, I've been thinking the same thing. Everyone is, way more people than you realize feel just like you do. But just like you, they think it's all a bit crazy and they're scared of being called names and they're not saying it. When you actually say it, most people here will be like, dude, I feel you, man. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. And again, this almost kind of comes back to this like invisible prison that Matthew Brown has talked about and other people have spoken about it. There's like this invisible prison that we've created with our mind through fear of what other people think or what other people will do and react. And it's like this thing that doesn't actually exist, yet it is strong enough that it is containing us. It's containing us into being this like subservient slave class and just allowing us to be like walked over and essentially not listened to. But when you realize that that imaginary prison doesn't actually exist, and when you speak up, everyone else is like, oh yeah, Yeah, I agree. I was thinking that too. And then you're like, wait, everyone fucking thinks this way? And then the small amount of people who are just completely mind virused, which by the way is such a real thing. The mind virus is obviously real. I mean, just look online. The mind virus is very real. It is literally a virus. And those people, I do think it could go two ways. Either they'll just die out because the world will become a very hard place and they just won't survive, or the fact that they got the mind virus in the first place shows that their mind is quite malleable and easily programmable. And when the majority of people start being like, okay, mate, enough of this garbage, we're going to actually start doing things the right way and what actually matters here. When that becomes the collective conversation, the programmable minds will just reprogram. And suddenly all of that mind virus stuff will be turned into whatever the current narrative is, because they'll just adapt to whatever the current programming is. So there you go, people. I think that's what needs to be done. And that I touched on this sort of thing at the end of the video that is coming out tomorrow. It's only a short one, but I hope it resonates, because I do want to use this platform obviously to have fun and have a laugh and explore the weird stuff because it's interesting. But I think in the times that we live in as well, I feel like it's almost like my duty to also use it as a vehicle of like positivity and like trying to push things in the right direction, which is, that's a scary thing, because like the right direction is subjective, right? Like it's what I think the right direction is. And I'm aware of the fact that like not everyone would agree with me and not everyone would think that. So like I'm aware that that's like a bit of a dangerous thing. But I think ultimately it just comes down to always trying to act, like thinking about where you act from and where you speak from. And I promise you guys, it's always from the heart. Even if I get things a little wrong, even if I maybe say things that offend some people sometimes, I apologize. It's not what I'm trying to do, but it always comes from the heart. Absolutely. One Direction. We could rename the channel, Lucas. We could rename the channel One Direction. Ironically, it does seem like most of those guys got the mind virus. They really did. At least I think Harry Styles did. He wears dresses now. I mean, look, and but let me just clarify, wearing a dress doesn't mean you have a mind virus. But again, if we look at the trends here, I saw this just happened. This literally yesterday, I saw something on the internet of Sam Smith. I think maybe someone sent it to me, or I don't know where it was. Sam Smith, who is an amazing musician, still is. There was a video of him before he really blew up. And he's just, on stage singing very sort of like conservatively, just in a suit, looks very sharp, looks good, singing beautifully. And then it's him like, 7 years after blowing up, going into Hollywood, welcome to Hollywood. Now he's literally dressed like a woman in a corset with makeup, like with his man tits hanging out over the corset, like thrusting his hips and shit. It's like, dude, what the fuck happened to you? Oh, you got the mind virus. You sold your soul to the devil of Hollywood. That's what happened to you. Like, that's what happened to you. And you could say, oh, that sounds extreme. That sounds like a hyper-religious take on the situation. First of all, you guys know I'm not religious, but like there's a pattern. There is a pattern with Hollywood and the entertainment industry. And not only is there a pattern that if you have eyes to see, you can just, it's objectively there. It's objectively there of people who never used to do like weird gothic, demonic looking, dark ritual performances. And now they become superstars. And now all of a sudden they love drinking blood as like a cool little artsy thing. Ooh, look at me, I'm drinking blood. Look at me, I'm wearing horns. Look at me, I'm pretending to be a demon. It's all just artistic, guys. Where are the people like pretending to be like angels and giving out love and happiness? Why isn't that a performance? You can say, oh, it wouldn't be as cool. It wouldn't be as edgy. And it's like, well, are we programmed to think that way? Like, are we programmed to think like doing this like weird ritual, like demonic performances is like cool and edgy? Why the fuck do we think that that's cool and edgy? Again, objectively, I think you can see there is a trend in Hollywood and the entertainment industry of people doing dark performances that is just art. It's just performance. But then, so, you know, you could argue against that and be like, oh, no, you're overthinking it. You're being like hyper religious or whatever. But then you've got all of the other people who are coming out of Hollywood and being like, I was literally asked to join the Illuminati and I basically had to let them peg me. And I saw this guy's face shapeshift in front of me. And basically they told me they do demonic rituals. So there's that too. You've got what we can objectively see. And then you've got the people coming out going, no, they literally eat children, do demonic rituals, and drink blood. And adrenochrome is a real thing. So there's that too. So you know what I mean? The mind virus is real. I'm not going to say the devil is real, but like, because I feel like that says that I don't think it's like an individual. I think it's a consciousness. There is a dark consciousness, an evil consciousness, a low frequency consciousness that is like parasitic. And I think when you do dark things, when you do bad things, and that's on a scale, right? Like from torturing and abusing little children on the extreme end to just stealing from somebody. That's these kind of things. This is my belief. Open your field up to a negative parasitic consciousness. Like when you put out evil and dark things and when you treat the world and people badly, you expose yourself to a negative frequency to play host in your body that will then like exacerbate that energy. And you will then begin to embody that. And obviously the darker and the more extreme and the more regularly you're doing that, the more extreme that will become. This is just my own theory, by the way. I could be completely wrong. This is just how I interpret things. And obviously I believe, yeah, exactly. Well put, Serp. Retard energy. Thank you. Perfect. And I obviously also think that the polarity of that is real too. Do good things. Treat people kindly. Be nice to animals. Look after your family, your friends. Tell them that you love them. Put out love into the world. Do good things, and you will open yourself up to a positive energy. I think that only makes sense, right? It just makes sense because that's polarity. And this is why I wish more people who are researching the field, especially the ones that do say like, oh, the UFO phenomenon, it's all demonic, it's all this, it's all that. I find it weird when they're not at least open or discussing ideas of the positive of it as well. Maybe they just are like living in fear of the negative side. I don't know. But like the fact that there is a positive flip side to me is just like that. It just makes sense. You can't have bad without the good. I don't know. Anyway, I kind of talk about that a little bit more in the video that's coming out tomorrow, which is now in 10 hours time. So my people, my free folk, you guys in the land of the free, that will be coming out tonight. You'll have a little gift to go to bed with. And to my Australian people, to my people putting their entire wage towards a tank of fuel, I empathize with you all, but you will have a little gift to wake up to in the morning. So I hope you guys enjoy that. I will be spending my day tomorrow editing, catching up on the travel vlogs so we can get the travel channel back in gear and get some videos coming over there. I'm looking forward to that. And I just want to thank you all for being here tonight. I appreciate these after dark hangouts because there's no topics, there's no agenda. It's literally just in the moment, in the vibe, whatever's happening is happening. And they always end up being really good shows. And that is because you guys are here supporting. And I feel it. I feel your love. I really do. And I appreciate it. So guys, thank you. People are asking for a Suki update. I do have a couple of videos and photos, but I don't have them prepared. And we're going to wrap up now. But I promise you, I will bring them to church on Sunday. So you guys know Sunday is like the flagship show of the channel. It's always a lot of fun where we just kind of dig into the random crazy stuff this week. We're going to be going back. We're going to be looking at Palm Beach Pete again. I think it's just the craziest story going on at the moment, but we'll have a lot more as well. So tune in on Sunday, but we will probably be live again before then. And like I said, video coming out soon. So make sure you check that one out. Follow me on Instagram as well. I've been posting stories and stuff when I'm out and about here in Vietnam. So if you're interested in that, come and say hello. Get yourself some merch. You can get one of these at the store right here. Link for that is below as well. But guys, thank you for hanging out. I can't say it enough. Really appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. Keep being good. Put out that positive energy. Touch some grass. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Peace.
Eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on?
No matter how far you go into the dark, when you flip, you go exactly the same place to the light in our galaxy. Everything. Because everything is in balance. Everything is a polarity.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.